Hey guys, this is Casual Sam P, and this is Phyto 1.0. At just under $400, it's aimed at console gamers wanting to start with computers and join the PC master race. So inside this guy, it's using Intel's newest offer towards the PC builder on a budget, the Pentium G4560. For the past few years, Pentium processors haven't had the best impressions as far as gaming goes, and that's generally because they were only built as dual-core machines. What that means is, when it actually comes to gaming, a lot of games actually do require 4 cores, or at least hyper-threading to some extent. In the past, you had to at least jump to a Core i3. However, with Intel's new release into the market, the latest KB-like Pentium processors actually do include hyper-threading. In simple terms, this basically means that a dual-core chip can actually run with almost the same power as a quad-core one, like an i3 from Intel or the Ryzen 3 line from AMD. So for about $35, almost $75 cheaper than a Ryzen 3 1200, you're still getting a 3.6 GHz processor and almost the same performance. And for most games, that's going to be more than enough. Pairing the G4560, you have EVGA's budget-friendly graphics card offering the GTX 1050. So as you can see, it might not be the biggest card in the world, but don't let that fool you. It has a great deal of power for extremely cheap $114 price tag. Ever since the beginning of the cryptocurrency mining craze, the price of pretty much all high-end graphics cards has increased significantly, and some even up to 30%. Thankfully, the GTX 1050 has not been affected as badly, and a big reason for that is while it hasn't been quite the best crypto mining card, it is still more than enough for 1080p gaming. Thanks to the 2GB of video memory on board, as well as the fairly low power consumption, you don't need to connect external PCI power, making it pretty convenient and even better for cable management. Accompanying the G4560 and GTX 1050, we have the Gigabyte GAD250M DS3H. Although it is a relatively basic motherboard, it supports not only our Pentium processor, but all the way up to Intel's main flagship line of processors, the Intel Core i7. So if you do want to put in a processor better optimized for gaming in coming years, it's pretty simple to do. For memory, we have a single stick of 8GB of DDR4 RAM by Crucial Ballistics, 4 LT clocked at 2400 MHz. 8GB is more than enough to run pretty much any game on high settings. And of course, if you do want to upgrade to 16GB, it's as simple as grabbing another stick and throwing it in your system. For memory, that's more than enough for most games in 2017. In terms of storage, we've gone with the ever so popular Seagate Barracuda 3.5-inch hard drive, and for less than $30, it's a steal. So I've been using WD Blue drives in my computer for a while, and this is the first time I've ever actually listed one of their drives. But to be fair, their pricing is really kind and the reviews are really high. So for about $27, you're getting 500 gigs of storage to keep all your games, which should be more than enough for any casual gamer just trying out PC gaming for the first time. However, if you do need more space, you can of course just throw in another one of these hard drives, or even better, throw in a SSD to gain extremely fast boot times. For about $37, you can get an 8 Premiere Pro 128GB SSD. And on top of that, if you're building a computer in 2017, you really should be using an SSD. It makes a night and day difference to how snappy and responsive pretty much loading everything on the computer is. For the power supply, we have a 450 watt unit from EVGA, and this is another part that's been used many times in pretty much like all budget builds over the years, and that's for a reason. Not only is it going to be fairly reliable, but it's also cheap, and with cost of power supplies being increased once again by crypto mining, smaller ones like these have been able to stay near their MSRP, up or down $10. And not only is it enough for the build as is, you can do some pretty serious upgrades without having to upgrade the unit at all. For the case, we're using Thermaltake's budget offering, the Thermaltake Versa H21, coming along with a clear side panel. It's actually a pretty solid case. It comes in an ATX mid-tower form factor, so there's plenty of room for larger parts if you decide to upgrade down the line, and for $20, Thermaltake just offers a great case in general. So not only does it have a pair of two 120mm fans in the front and the back, but its window, yes, it has a window. It lets you show off your cable management and parts. Now yes, build quality could be a little bit better, but for the price, there's not a lot to complain about. Just be happy that it doesn't have any razor sharp edges. First we have Rocket League. It's a game that's not too difficult to run, and as you can see here, it's absolutely no problem for the Phyto. We're getting about anywhere between 60 and 70 frames per second, and that's on high settings, so it's actually pretty good, definitely playable. Next we have Shadow of Mordor. Now yes, it's a pretty old game, but it's very well optimized, so you can get some good frames on it. And on high settings at 1080p, we're getting anywhere between 40 and 50 frames. However, with the lows, they're around 33, but that's only 0.1%, and the 1% is 37, so it's not very playable at high, but if you lower it down to medium settings, it would definitely go up to the maybe 57, 60 mark, so if you do that, it's definitely playable. And another game that's slightly older but looks very nice is GTA 5, so again on very high setting, we're still doing pretty good. We're keeping around a constant 50-60, average of 56.7, and the lowest 1%, 42.1% 40, so definitely playable. If you can't stand that, then you may want to lower the settings to high instead of very high. And another game Phyto 1.0 can handle is Overwatch. So here on ultra settings at 1080p, we can see some really nice frames, and we're hovering between 85 and 95, and it's very playable with a low 1% of 82.7 and a low 0.1% of 80.3. It's definitely playable. You can even get a 75 or even 100 hertz monitor to play this. It'll look really nice. As always, I'll have the links you guys need to build the Phyto 1.0 in the description, and if you're curious on how to actually build a gaming PC of your own, you can check out some awesome tutorials from other tech tubers like Austin Evans, TechSource, and Bitwit, and I'll link their videos down in the description and go check them out. So make sure you like the video if you liked it, and if you're feeling kind, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time.